Hondo took one more look under the hood, more out of habit than hope. The crack in the radiator was bad, split wide enough that even a patch wouldn't hold for long. He closed the hood gently, like there was some dignity left to give the car. "She's not going anywhere on her own," he said. Dink sighed dramatically. "Knew it. Soon as I heard that hiss I told Joyce, that's the sound of money leaving our lives." Joyce shot him a look. "You told me it sounded like a snake." Well, either way, it was angry. Hondo straightened and nodded toward the power wagon. "Where you folks headed?" "North mostly," Joyce said. "Didn't matter much beyond that." Hondo thought about it for a second, then nodded. "I can give you a ride." Dink grinned like he'd just won something. "Well, I'll be. Joyce, I told you big ugly trucks were good luck." "Get your bag," she said, already moving. They didn't have much. A couple of worn duffels and a small cooler. Hondo stowed everything without comment, then opened the passenger door. Joyce climbed in first, Atlas shifting to give her room without being told. Dink lingered a moment, circling the truck slow. He rapped his knuckles on the steel fender. "She's an old one," he said. "Looks like she's seen better decades." Hondo paused, watching him. Dink squinted at the tires, the lift, the reinforced bumper. His grin faded just enough to mean something. That said, old girls don't usually sit this high unless they've got secrets. Hondo shrugged, upgraded the suspension. Gearing's been changed for torque. Reinforced the frame. She ain't fast, but she'll pull. Dink nodded appreciatively. "Figures. Knew she wasn't just dressing up for attention." "She's been in the family," Hondo added, almost without meaning to. "My granddad bought her. Dad kept her running. I just finished the job." Dink tipped his cap. "That explains it. Truck like this don't quit on you. Not if it was raised right." Joyce leaned across the seat and swatted Dink's arm. "You can't help yourself, can you? Always poking at things until they poke back." Dink chuckled as he climbed in. "Keeps life interesting." Hondo started the engine. The truck settled into its familiar rumble, steady and sure. As they pulled back onto the road, Joyce looked out the window, then down at Atlas. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Most folks wouldn't have stopped." Hondo nodded once. Dog made the call. Atlas thumped his tail. They were back on the road, the power wagon eating up miles like it always had. The trees thinned some, the land flattening out, signs coming more frequently now, faded billboards, exit numbers that meant something to people who used to have plans. Hondo kept his eyes forward. "We're almost into Shreveport." Joyce glanced out the window. Dink snorted. "I don't care to be in that town," Hondo went on. "Always on the news for something. Gang violence, shootings. Used to be different." "It used to be a nice place," Dink said. "Back when folks still waved at each other and didn't poison themselves for fun. Young people and drugs really went to shit after that." Joyce gave him a look. "Careful. You were young once." "Yeah," Dink said. "And I survived it. That's my point." Atlas lifted his head, ears angling forward as the first distant hum of traffic carried through the open window. He didn't growl. He didn't relax either. Dink shifted in his seat and looked over at Hondo. "So where you headed anyway?" Hondo didn't answer right away. The road curved gently, skyline still out of sight, but close enough to feel. He tightened his grip on the wheel just a little. "North," he said finally. "Looking for my wife and my boy." The cab went quiet. Joyce nodded slowly, like that was all the explanation needed. Dink's joking grin softened, just enough to show the man underneath it. "Well," Dink said, clearing his throat, "then I'd say you're heading the right direction. World's getting smaller by the mile." Atlas settled back down, pressing against Hondo's leg, steady and solid. The first Shreveport sign rolled past. Hondo didn't slow down. The road rolled on, the outskirts of the city still ahead of them, but close enough now that Hondo could feel it pressing in. "My wife and son were visiting our daughter," Hondo said after a while. "Up in Arkansas, little south of Hot Springs, near that impact crater place." Dink raised an eyebrow. "Meteor crater." "Yeah," Hondo said. "Around there." Joyce's eyes lit just a little, the way they did when someone mentioned a place that still felt real. "That's pretty country. Rugged but good land." "They live on an old farmhouse," Hondo went on. "Belonged to my son-in-law's family. Been there a long time." Joyce smiled. "What are their names?" Hondo glanced over at her, faintly amused. "You act like you might know them." "You never know," she said. "World's smaller than folks think." "My daughter's name is Cheyenne," Hondo said. "Her husband's Dylan. They've got a boy, Maverick." Dink nodded. Strong names. Kid's either gonna grow up stubborn or famous. Probably both, Hondo said. Dink shifted in his seat. How old's your son? Hondo didn't answer right away. His thumb rubbed once against the worn steering wheel, right where the leather had smoothed out over years of driving. 10, he said. Joyce's expression softened. That's a good age. Yeah, Hondo said quietly. It was. Atlas let out a low breath and pressed closer against his leg, steady as the truck itself. The road sign for Shreveport loomed closer now, green and bright like nothing had changed at all. Hondo kept driving. As they drew closer to Shreveport, the conversation drifted back to small things. Dink talked about a fishing hole he used to sneak into as a kid. Hondo listened, answered when it made sense, eyes staying on the road. Traffic was thin now, thinner than it should have been for this time of day. Atlas lifted his head. Hondo noticed immediately. He eased off the gas, the power wagon's rumble dropping into a lower note. Dink followed his gaze. What's wrong? Hondo slowed more. Roadblock. Up ahead, the road narrowed where trees and a shallow ditch naturally funneled traffic. Concrete barriers had been dragged into place. Sheriff's deputies stood near their cruisers, rifles slung, lights flashing without sirens. It wasn't hurried. It was controlled. Damn, Hondo muttered. Joyce leaned forward. What are we going to do now? Hondo didn't answer right away. He watched the deputies, counted them, noted how they were positioned. This wasn't panic. This was planned. Dink scratched his chin, eyes brightening just a little. Well, he said, we can either turn around and go the long way, or you can show me what this old truck can do and drive right through M. Hondo exhaled slowly. His grandfather's voice came back to him, clear as if the man was sitting in the passenger seat instead of Joyce. Stay unseen unless you have to be seen. Once you're seen, you can't put that back. Hondo shook his head. No. Dink blinked. No. No, Hondo said again. We backtrack. Joyce let out a breath she'd been holding. Dink frowned. You know that's going to take us through some rough neighborhoods. I know, Hondo said, but I don't want to pick a fight with the army if I don't have to. And I don't want either of y'all getting hurt. Atlas shifted, tail thumping once, firm and certain. Hondo signaled early, slow and deliberate, then eased the truck into a wide turn. No sudden moves. No attention drawn. The power wagon rolled back the way they'd come, steady as ever. A few miles back, Hondo took the cut-off road, the one that curved away from the main artery and slipped toward the older parts of town. The pavement cracked and patched, trees pressing closer on both sides. The city disappeared behind them. The harder road lay ahead. As they worked their way around the main part of the city, the buildings began to tell a different story. Storefronts with boarded windows, faded paint, signs hanging crooked, letters missing like teeth knocked out long ago. This side of town hadn't been cared for in years, collapse or not. More people were out now. Not crowds, just pockets of them, standing too close together, lingering in doorways, watching the road without pretending not to. Hondo couldn't always tell what they were doing, but he knew what it felt like. No one was just going about their day. Stay calm, Hondo said quietly. We're just passing through. Joyce nodded. Then she leaned forward slightly. Do y'all notice? None of the cars are moving. Hondo had noticed. Parked vehicles lined the streets, some abandoned halfway into intersections. Doors open, hoods up, but none running. No engines, no traffic noise beyond their own. Dink let out a dry chuckle. Well, I'll be damned. Guess ours wasn't the only one that decided to quit. Hondo didn't smile. Yeah, he said. I've been thinking about that. Atlas shifted, sitting upright now, eyes tracking the sidewalks. I know the phones don't work, Hondo went on. No internet either. Back home, a local sheriff's deputy, Andy, an old friend of mine, he said it didn't look like anything was working. Power, communications, all of it. But the old analog stuff, some of that still worked. Radios, certain equipment. Dink perked up. See? That's how it starts. Joyce sighed. Don't. It's the aliens, Dink said confidently. I bet on it. Probably knocked out the satellites first. Joyce nudged him with her elbow. You and your wild conspiracies. Hondo didn't weigh in. He didn't know what caused it, and right now it didn't matter. What mattered was what came after. He looked at the people on the sidewalks again, at the way frustration sat on them like heat. If things didn't come back on soon, it wasn't going to end well. Folks had forgotten how to live without screens telling them what to do next, how to wait, How to make do. The power wagon rumbled through the neighborhood, loud in the sudden quiet. Too loud. As they rolled through the next intersection, Atlas growled. Not loud. Not frantic. Low and steady, the kind of sound meant for Hondo alone. Hondo's eyes snapped left, then right. That's when he saw them. A handful of men stood on the roof of an old brick building, half its windows busted out. One of them held something to his mouth, small, dark. A handheld radio, maybe. They weren't waving. They weren't hiding either. They were watching. Hondo's foot eased toward the brake. Too late. Out of nowhere, a car was shoved sideways into the street. It scraped and groaned as it slid, blocking the lane just ahead of them. Hondo stood on the brake, the power wagon shuddering to stop. More men stepped out from between buildings. From alleys. From doorways. Closing in. Shit, Hondo said. Dink twisted in his seat. What in the same hell? I don't know, Hondo said, already shifting. But we ain't staying to find out. He stomped the gas. The old truck's tires barked once, sharp and angry. Then the power wagon lunged forward. Steel met steel as the bumper slammed into the side of the blocking car. The impact jolted everyone hard, Atlas bracing instinctively. Hondo stayed in it. The engine roared as he fed it more throttle. The blocking car screeched as it started to move, metal folding, tires skidding sideways. Yelling erupted all around them. Hondo caught movement in his peripheral vision, arms lifting, dark shapes in hands. Gunfire cracked. The rear glass exploded inward, showering the cab in tiny fragments. A bullet tore through the space between Hondo and Joyce, close enough that he felt the air move. Joyce gasped but didn't scream. Hondo floored it. The blocking car finally spun free, sliding out of the way as the power wagon surged past. The truck bounced hard, suspension soaking it up as they blasted through the intersection. More shots rang out behind them, but they were already pulling away. Hondo didn't slow, didn't look back. The road opened just enough, and then they were gone. Engine howling, heart pounding, Atlas barking once, fierce and sharp, as the city tried and failed to keep them. They didn't slow until the buildings thinned and the trees came back, the city finally loosening its grip on the road. Only then did Hondo ease off the gas and signal, pulling the power wagon onto a dirt turnout just beyond a line of pines. The engine idled, loud in the sudden quiet. No one spoke at first. Hondo shut it down and stepped out, rifle in hand more out of habit than need. He walked the length of the truck slowly, eyes tracing the steel, fingers brushing dents and fresh scars. A couple clean holes punched through the bed. One through the rear panel where the glass had been. Nothing leaking. Nothing hanging loose. The truck had taken it. Inside, Dink finally let out a shaky breath. Well, that answers the question about whether today was going to get any worse. Joyce sat rigid, hands folded tight in her lap, eyes fixed straight ahead. Hondo opened the hood, checked what he needed to check, then closed it again. She's fine, he said. Just a few extra holes. Dink barked a short laugh that died halfway out. That's your version of good news, huh? Hondo leaned against the fender. You asked what made em do it. My guess. The truck. Dink frowned. The truck. Every other vehicle we saw back there was dead, Hondo said. This one wasn't. They saw something running, moving, something they could take. Joyce swallowed. The words settled heavier than the gunfire had. So that's how it is now, she said quietly. Hondo nodded. Looks like it. Dink rubbed his face with both hands. Hell of a time for me to start liking a piece of machinery. Joyce finally unclenched, shoulders sagging as the immediate danger passed. She looked over at Hondo, really looked at him this time. You said you had family up north. Yeah, Hondo said. My wife and son. She nodded. Tell me about them. Hondo hesitated just a second, then answered. The road wasn't moving anymore. No harm in letting the truth have some air. Atlas lay at his feet, still alert, eyes on the tree line, guarding what little peace they had left.